What's up, Raider Nation? Let's dive into the latest update on running back Ashton Jeanty and a surprising change he's made to his game. During rookie minicamp, Jeanty made headlines when he adjusted his pre-snap stance, a move introduced by none other than head coach Chip Kelly. If you followed Jeanty, you know he's always been recognized for his upright stance before the snap. Unlike most running backs who lower into a ready position with hands on their knees, Jeanty used to line up standing tall. That stance became part of his identity, but that's changing. On day one of rookie minicamp, Coach Kelly approached Jeanty with an unexpected comparison. Basketball. Kelly asked, "You ever play basketball?" Jeanty confirmed he had. Kelly then told him to show how he'd guard someone on defense. Naturally, Jeanty dropped into a low, athletic stance. Kelly pointed out that same stance is what's needed from a running back. Low, ready, and explosive. Now Jeanty is embracing the change, adopting a more traditional hands-on-knees stance at the line. It's a shift that's drawn attention, especially considering his past success. He was a Heisman finalist and one of the top running backs in college football. Some might wonder, why change what's already working? But Jeanty seems open to evolving, especially if it means getting even better at the pro level. We'll be keeping an eye on how this adjustment plays out on the field. This change in Ashton Jeanty's stance really shows one thing. He's putting in the work to be in the best position possible on every snap. You've got to respect that. Whether you agree with the switch or not, the fact that he's coachable and willing to adapt speaks volumes. Now here's a question for you. Do you like or dislike the idea of Chip Kelly changing Jeanty's stance? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear from you. Personally, I'm all for it. Even though I usually live by the motto, if it's not broken, don't fix it. I think this move sends an important message. It shows that no player is above coaching, not even a star rookie. Whether you're Ashton Jeanty or a veteran like Max Crosby, growth never stops. Great coaches like Andy Reid don't hesitate to pull aside even someone like Patrick Mahomes if they think there's a way to improve. And great players know that sometimes that 1% improvement makes all the difference. That's why I'm impressed with Jeanty. He's not resisting the change, he's embracing it. And his mindset says a lot. In a recent interview, Jeanty said, "He won for now. I've got to earn my stripes, make some plays first. But I don't think it's going to be the end." That's humility. He's saying, "I'll follow my coach's lead for now, but once I prove myself, maybe I can go back to what I know best." That attitude right there is what separates good players from great ones. Jeanty's approach shows maturity and a team-first mentality. In the NFL, every player has some level of ego, and that's normal. But the best teams thrive when their top talent sets their ego aside and commits fully to the system. This is exactly the kind of mindset that helps rookies become stars and helps teams build winning cultures. Jeanty's attitude says it all. He's willing to do whatever it takes to help the team succeed. That kind of mindset is exactly what you want from a young player entering the NFL. Yes, Jeanty was a standout in college, but let's be honest, what really matters now is what he can do in silver and black. And his message is crystal clear. I'll follow my coaches, earn their trust, and once I've proven myself, maybe I'll get a say in how I approach the game. That's how true professionals handle their business. If the Raiders are serious about building something special over the next few seasons, they need players like this, guys who are all in, coachable, and focused on the bigger picture. Whether or not Antonio Pierce gets the credit down the line, having strong leadership from guys like Chip Kelly helps shape a winning culture. Now here's a fun thought. If Ashton Jeanty goes out and breaks the Raiders' rookie rushing record, should he be able to choose his stance? Honestly, if he's producing at that level, let him stand however he wants. He could line up like a baseball batter if it helps him move the chains. For some context, Josh Jacobs is the only rookie running back in Raiders history to rush for over 1,000 yards in a season. He put up 1,150 yards his first year. So here's the question. Can Jeanty match or beat that in year one? Let's put it to the test. Over or under 1,150 rushing yards this season for Ashton Jeanty? Personally, I'm going with over. I think he's got the talent, the work ethic, and the right mindset to make it happen. When it comes to predicting breakout seasons, I like to put my money where my mouth is, literally. I've already placed my season-long picks, and yes, Ashton Jeanty is in that lineup. I'm backing him to go over on his rushing yards this year. Of course, league rules for fantasy picks mean you can't stack your entire lineup with players from one team. So I mixed in some other standouts, Geno Smith, Brock Bowers, Max Crosby, and Joe Burrow. And I'm riding the over on all of them. Let's shift gears now, because one major headline for the Raiders this offseason has been the injury situation with Christian Wilkins. Raise your hand if you've heard reports that Wilkins has been seen in a walking boot. Now raise your hand again if you're still confused by what's actually going on, because you're not alone. A recent report from the Fresno Bee cited sources saying that Wilkins was back in a walking boot. That report referenced the Athletics' Tashan Reed, who also suggested Wilkins was sidelined and that the Raiders are staying quiet about his recovery timeline. Here's the issue. There's some real confusion around this. According to reports, the media wasn't even allowed in the building on May 19th, when this news supposedly broke. That means there's no way to confirm if Wilkins was actually in a boot or if that's just speculation being passed around. What makes this even more complicated is how quickly that story spread. Other outlets, like Raiders Wire, also posted about Wilkins being back in a boot, linking it to the same original report. The bottom line? There's a lot of noise around Wilkins right now, but not a lot of clarity. Until we get confirmation directly from the team or an official source, it's hard to say where things truly stand with his injury status. Now, maybe it's just me, but when I compare different reports on Christian Wilkins' injury, I see a lot of mixed messages. For example, Raiders Wire and a few others are putting out headlines like, "Wilkins is back in a walking boot," but that's not exactly what Tashan Reed reported. Let's take a closer look at what Reed actually said. According to his report, Wilkins originally suffered a Jones fracture in his left foot last season. He had surgery, was placed in a boot, and then was out of the boot by the end of the year. Earlier this offseason, he went back into the boot temporarily, but team sources said he was already out of it again during recent OTA workouts. The report simply points to some questions about his recovery timeline, not that he's currently sidelined. Nowhere in Reed's statement does it claim that Wilkins is currently wearing a walking boot. You'll know we already talked about Wilkins being in a boot before the NFL draft. That part isn't new. What is new is the way it's being spun as a fresh setback, and that's not what the original reporting says. Some fans are also bringing up Tony Pauline's report from a while back, which mentioned the possibility of another surgery. I understand why that might raise concern, but here's the reality. If Wilkins really was headed for another procedure, two things would be true. He'd definitely be in a boot right now. He wouldn't be showing up for non-mandatory team activities. And yet, Wilkins is out there, participating. I even went through all the team photos from the latest OTAs on Monday. And guess what? Number 94, Christian Wilkins, was right there on the field. No boot, no brace, nothing on his foot at all. Was he wearing a helmet? No, but that doesn't necessarily signal a problem. So let me be clear. I don't believe Tashan Reed said Wilkins is back in a boot as of May. What I read is that he was in one earlier, likely around April, but not now. Yes, we should still keep an eye on Wilkins' health. He's a major part of this defense. But based on what's actually been reported and what we're seeing at OTAs, this doesn't seem like a major red flag. Hopefully, that clears things up. Personally, I'm not too worried about the Christian Wilkins injury right now. If more concrete info comes out, of course, we'll talk about it. But based on what we know, it just doesn't add up that the Raiders would let their star defensive tackle practice if he were on the verge of needing surgery. And keep in mind, these are non-mandatory workouts. There's no reason for Wilkins to be out there unless he's healthy enough to participate. That's why this whole "he's back in a boot" headline just doesn't hold much weight to me. So, before jumping to conclusions, go back and read Tashan Reed's report again. Ask yourself, did he say Wilkins is currently in a boot? Or did he say Wilkins was in a boot earlier in the offseason? Because what I read, and what matches the timeline, is that Wilkins was in a boot, and he's out of it now.